Agitorium nostrum in nomine Domini. Let's continue with the conclusion of Humanum Genus, of encyclical of Pope Leo XIII, condemning Freemasonry. We left off on bottom of page 27, paragraph 36. In the fourth place, in order more easily to attain what we wish to your fidelity and watchfulness, we commend in a special manner the young as being the hope of human society. So here he speaks of the youth. He tells these bishops, devote the greatest part of your care to their
instruction.
Teach the youth. Teach them the catechism. Teach them grounded philosophy and the papal encyclicals. Teach them the kingship of Christ. Teach them the fight for the reign of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. That's the first duty of bishops. And notice instruction. So, can you give instruction in silence?
No.
Well, maybe by good example, but faith comes by what?
By hearing.
Yes, you need to hear it. Bishops need to be heard publicly. Devote the greatest part of your care to their instruction. And why is Pope Leo XIII, you think, saying this? Because have the Freemasons targeted the youth?
Yes.
Absolutely. So the enemy knows. You get the youth, you have the world tomorrow. And do not think that any precaution can be great enough in keeping them from masters and schools once the pestilent breath of the sects, that is the Freemasonic lodges, is to be feared. Keep them from, in other words, the public schools. Keep away from these government schools that rot them and form them into atheists and evolutionists. He continues, under your guidance, let parents, religious instructors, and priests, having the care of souls, the cure of souls, use every opportunity in their Christian teaching of warning their children and pupils of the infamous nature of these societies, so that they may learn in good time to beware of the various and fraudulent artifices, that is, the manipulative words, deceiving colors, deceiving words and tricks that the Freemasons use. Beware of all this. And fraudulent artifices by which their promoters are accustomed to
ensnare people.
And those who instruct the young in religious knowledge will act wisely if they induce all of them to resolve and to undertake never to bind themselves to any society without the knowledge of their
parents
or the advice of their
parish priest or director.
Yeah, so see how the Catholic Church works openly. Always openly. Make sure you have your parents' approval before you join any club, any fraternity, any group. While these works of darkness, they say, don't tell your parents. You want to get a transgender surgery? Don't tell your parents. Oh, we can plan Parenthood. We can help you get an abortion, and your parents don't need to know about it. It's really satanic. And what they teach the kids in school, all this woke perversion and liberal perversion. Don't tell your parents. Well, the parents are the first guardians of their children, and they should be the first to know. So, Freemasons, they will do this. They will go after the young, especially in the high school and colleges. My own nephew, Adam, he was invited by the Masons to come to New York City to be wined and dined and offered great college goals, college scholarships and promises and so forth and so forth. And many people of these young guys go and they get deceived. I think a lot of politicians get seduced into Freemasonry that way. But that's the only way to ascend in politics in the United States. You have to be a Freemason. In some degree, you have to be. You can't get up there without being a Freemason. So George Bush, he was a high up, 33rd degree Mason. And someone recently told me that Bella Dodge, she has a book called something, The Works of Darkness or something, where she tried to find the leader of the communist group, which led her to the Freemasonry, and she tried to find who's the boss, who's the leader here. Let's find the address, the name. I want to go to the desk and talk to the head guy. And everything was just so difficult. And her final conclusion, for which it's believed she was killed for writing this book and exposing this, it was Lucifer himself who's at the head. He's the one giving the orders, Lucifer himself. So these secret Masonic lodges, they work in the dark, and they deceive a lot of promising young men who have a lot of talent, really smart, athletic, promising young men, and they go after them to seduce them into the Masonic lodges. Bunch of rats. But you see, the Catholic Church is open and says, no, bishops, look after the youth, instruct them, and warn them of their deceits. Warn them what the Freemasons are really up to. Expose, tear off the mask. Show them what they're up to destroy the Catholic Church, to destroy the Mass, overthrow womanhood in the family. And prepare the youth so they don't get seduced by the Masonic lodges. Warn them of the fashions, so the girls don't follow the immodest fashions. But if they know who's behind producing the fashions and finances the fashions and the toys, like Barbie dolls, you might laugh because, all right, Barbie, what's the big deal with Barbie dolls? Well, it just shows perfectly the woman's figure. You don't give that to kids. You remember the innocent dolls of yesteryear, a little puffed animal or nice porcelain face, but they have all these rich dresses and clothes. Kids they're not supposed to be thinking of sensual things. So Barbie doll, you might laugh, but there's a whole study that was a book written on this, on Barbie dolls, was to sensualize the children, in fact. So he's telling the bishops, tell the youth that the fashions, the movies that they're so excited to see are financed and published by these enemies of Jesus Christ. If they know this, they will not be so easily seduced. And the rock music industry, if they know who's financing the rock music industry, that it's there deliberately to corrupt the young, to degrade their morals, the bishop should be condemning this, exposing it. But in the United States, they just laughed at this encyclical. And then the proof of it is, in 1983, the new Code of Canon Law reinforced the excommunication on Catholics joining Freemasonry.
No.
What did it do?
It totally got rid of it.
Lifted all excommunications for Catholics being Freemasons. So after that, you think any bishops are going to condemn Freemasonry?
No.
Publicly? How can they, when the new Code of Canon Law, approved by Pope John Paul II, says it's not a sin? So I'm trying to find my book. It's buried upstairs in the boxes. I'm trying to find it. I have to get up there. But there's a great book I have quoting all the Freemasons from the lodges, how they loved Vatican II, how they saw Pope John the 23rd and Paul VI as their heroes, the revolution in tiara and cope, and how they triumphed at Vatican II. Archbishop Lefebvre quotes Marcedon, a Freemasonic lodge leader. What do they call their leaders again? Anyway, one of their chief guys, and he was saying, we triumphed at Vatican II. Our Masonic ideas triumphed at Vatican II. So we can really say Vatican II was a Freemasonic council. So it's not the council of the Catholic Church. It was a hijacking of our Catholic Church. That's why you can't rescue it. That's Bishop Follet's dream, is to rescue and interpret it in the traditional way. It's just a dream. You can't. If you got any farmer knows, you got a pile of old cow manure, and it stinks and it's wet. Well, you can dump as much perfume on it as you want. It's not going to change what it is. And you can interpret Vatican II in all the light of tradition you want. As Father Chazelle used to say, Father Chazelle, you can spray all the light of tradition cologne all over it you want. It's not going to change what it is. So that's the dream of St. Peter's Society, the Christ the King Institute, Good Shepherd Institute, La Barou. Who else? Now the Redemptorists since 2012, and now the new SSPX. They all dream of rescuing Vatican II and interpreting it in the light of tradition. But you can't. Because why? What's just one basic argument to show you can't save it? Anyone? Father Schillebeck's wrote some of the documents, and he said we deliberately put in equivocal phrases, double meaning phrases, ambiguous terms. Right then and there condemns the whole thing. Why?
Because of the fact that it can be taken, it was made deliberately, so that it could be taken in a heretical sense, or something close to heresy, while still trying to maintain its a Catholic way of interpreting it, and also because Pope Pius VI condemned
Pius VI
Pope Pius
in Auctorium Fidei, yes.
He condemned the use of ambiguity.
That's correct. In no uncertain terms. So with Vatican II, a conservative bishop can say, well, I can have Latin in my parishes because it says, see, Vatican II encourages keeping the Latin. But a liberal bishop can read the exact same document and say,
then I can have the vernacular in my parish, or I can have rock and roll masses.
yeah, I can have bongo drums, I can have mariachi masses, I can have Indians with feathers and dancing around the altar because it says, see, Vatican II says enculturation. So with such a document, it's self-destructive. It's double-tongued. And God says in the scripture, I have hated the double-tongued. So there's no saving Vatican II. It's built in to be a self-contradiction. And that's diabolic. The double-tongued serpent, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing to do with Vatican II, like on that point, Archbishop Vigano is correct. You have to just throw it out and bury it and burn it. So that'll be a happy day in St. Peter's Square when they haul out the books of Vatican II, the documents, and burn them in a public ceremony. Burn it, plus the new Mass Missal, plus the new Code of Canon Law, just burn it all up. And restore the church to its former glory before all this mess. All right, 37. Take it, Gavril.
We well know, however, that our united labors will by no means suffice to pluck up these pernicious seeds from the Lord's field, unless the heavenly Master of the vineyard shall mercifully help us in our endeavors. We must therefore, with great and anxious care, implore of him the help which the greatness of the danger and of the need requires.
All right, so what's he saying here? The work is enormous. We can't do it without our Lord's help. So we got to pray, because we're fighting the devil here, and we're no match to him. So we got to pray and ask our Lord help. Go on.
The sect of the Freemasons shows itself insolent and proud of its success, and seems as if it would put no bounds to its pertinacity. Its followers, joined together by a wicked compact, and by secret counsels give help to one another, and excite one another to an audacity for evil things. So vehement an attack demands an equal defense.
Yes, so the Freemasons attacking the church bishops demands you to defend the church. So rise up and defend your mother, defend the faith, defend our Lord, defend the young. What a beautiful thing, isn't it, when popes did their duty like this. Namely, go on, loud and clear.
Namely, that all good men should form the widest possible association of action and of prayer. We beseech them, therefore, with united hearts, to stand together and unmoved against the advance and force of the sects, and in mourning and supplication to stretch out their hands to God, praying that the Christian name may flourish and prosper, that the Church may enjoy its needed liberty, and that those who have gone astray may return to a right mind, that error at length may give place to truth, and vice to virtue. Let us take as our helper the intercessor, the Virgin Mary, Mother of God, so that she, who from the moment of her conception overcame Satan, may show her power over these evil sects, in which is revived the contumacious spirit of the demon. Therefore, with his together with his unsubdued perfidy and deceit, let us beseech Michael, the prince of the heavenly angels, who drove out the infernal foe, and Joseph, the spouse of the most holy Virgin, and heavenly patron of the Catholic Church, and the great apostles Peter and Paul, the fathers and victorious champions of the Christian faith, by their patronage and by perseverance in united prayer. We hope that God will mercifully and opportunely succor the human race, which is encompassed by so many dangers.
Yes. As a pledge of heavenly gifts and of our benevolence, we lovingly grant you and the Lord, to you, venerable brethren, the bishops, and to the clergy and all the people committed to your watchful care, our apostolic benediction. So we give the blessing of the Pope, given at St. Peter's in Rome, the 20th day of April, 1884, the 6th year of our pontificate, Pope Leo XIII. So what a great encyclical. He's not living in dream world, in dreamland, where progress and wonderful inventions and technology and mankind is just wonderful and let's celebrate unity. No. He's saying, no, the devil's at work. One of his big external enemies is Freemasonry. Bishops pull together and fight this enemy. Expose it. Preach the faith. Instruct the young. Right? Go into battle. And we need Mary's help. We need St. Joseph's help, St. Peter and Paul. You see, that's realistic. These dream world Vatican II popes are just in la-la land. And just playthings of the Freemasons. All right, let us look now. On one side you have the typed edition of Bishop Williamson's chart. This is a classic Bishop Williamson gem from his golden days. You have the handwritten breakdown of this encyclical of Bishop Williamson. That's his own writing, but it's very readable. And he would do these wonderful charts for all the encyclicals of the popes and many other things. So that was one of Bishop Williamson's great gifts, was to take a huge document and break it down into its logical structure. So this is one of the big treasures left to us from Bishop Williamson in his golden days. So you see, on the far left, you have the name of the encyclical, Humanum Genus. Next section, introduction. And then below that, the what?
Evil of Freemasonry.
Evil of Freemasonry. And then down.
Remedy.
And then.
The conclusion.
So there's the breakdown of the whole encyclical. Introduction, evil of Freemasonry, what's the remedy, and then conclusion. Pretty simple, right? And it's broken down into 39 paragraphs. So let's look at the introduction, which divides into Satan's association, Pope's warnings, and conclusion. So Satan's association. Firstly, there are
2 kingdoms.
paragraph 1, ever since the fall, men on earth have been divided between,
Christ and Satan's kingdoms.
yes, so there's a war. Everybody, bishops, I remind you, we're in a war. This is not a game. Next, Satan's
elite.
2, but today Satan's servants are being more strongly led than ever out in the
Open.
by who?
Freemasonry.
Yeah, so the enemy is showing their weapons and their teeth. Next, the Pope's duty. 3, in such a crisis, the Pope must lay out a
Battle plan to defend Christ's kingdom.
yes. So the Pope is laying out the battle plan. Here it is. Bishops, you're the lieutenants of the church. Here's the battle plan. We're going into war because the enemy has put on a new assault on the church, with a whole new flank coming in from the left side to attack the church and try to destroy it. Pope's warnings, enumerated in general for, take it, Gavril,
Previous popes
Denounced.
denounced Freemasonry from the moment it came out into the open.
So the popes before us have just bashed this snake over and over again. In detail, 5.
Firstly, Clement XII in 1738, then Benedict XIV, Pius VII, Leo XII, Pius VIII, Gregory XVI, Pius IX.
Look at that whole line of popes, one after the other, condemning Freemasonry. It's quite impressive, isn't it? The popes were under no delusion. They saw it was an enemy right from the start, and they bashed it and bashed it and bashed it. These popes would roll over in their graves if they saw the new Code of Canon Law, which lifts the excommunication. What a crime! And they call John Paul II a saint? Yeah, right. Pope's warnings, enumerated and then justified. Reactions, 6, Gavril.
In many countries, political leaders and even Masons admitted the denunciations were justified.
The denunciations, yeah, were justified. So political leaders and Masons even said, yeah, well, we don't agree with the popes, but they're right to warn everybody against us. Vindication, 7.
Alas, Masonry nevertheless advanced rapidly and threatens to prove all Pope's warnings true.
Yes. So the disease of Freemasonry is spreading. People are starting to join it more and more. And this is, what year? 1884. So it was already well established in the United States. Freemasonry is well entrenched right from the start in the northern states, especially Boston, Massachusetts. In fact, you could go in Boston, Massachusetts to the Green Dragon Tavern. That was where the Freemasons used to meet. That's where they planned the Boston Tea Party, was there. They were all buddies there, and it was a Masonic lodge, the Green Dragon. It's still open. You can go there and get a beer. But that's where they used to meet, the Green Dragon in Boston. So this disease is spreading rapidly, and now even Catholics are starting to join. So this is very serious. Very serious. Conclusion, warn again! Exclamation point. 8. In various encyclicals I have attacked Masonic errors. Let this one attack Masonry itself. So it's a whole encyclical just on Freemasonry. It's quite amazing, isn't it? And I've talked to some Freemasons out there, and they try to defend, well, we just do good. It's all about doing good. And I said, have you read the encyclical of Leo XIII on Freemasonry? No. Well, you should. You need to read it. And you got to get out of there if you want to save your soul. Yeah, but I got this nice ring, and I got a good job because of my Freemasonic brothers. Well, you know, the devil is prince of this world. You want to serve him or Christ the King? Evil of Freemasonry, evil character, evil principles, evil practice, the verdict. Firstly, the evil character of Freemasonry. So now he's lifting up the hood and saying, what is this beast? Let's look at this engine. Let's look at the parts of this Masonic setup here. The evil character. First, secrecy. 9, Gavril.
Freemasonry is the center and queen of secret societies, binding members to secrecy by fearful oaths.
Yeah, why would he say fearful oaths?
Because of what the oaths, what you have to promise or swear that if you do not keep quiet about certain things, then you are allowing, for example, your death to come upon you.
Yeah, you promise that if you break any of their rules or reveal any of their secrets, you're going to be strung up and tortured and killed. And Bishop Williamson used to say there were several Masons who revealed some of the secrets were found hanging off bridges in London, sliced from ear to ear under their chin. And that's a Masonic mark of Masonic murder. Sliced right here, ear to ear. Also, the wickedness of Freemasonry, paragraph 10.
This hallmark of evil is confirmed by Masonry's wicked aims and fruits, the overthrow of
Christianity.
Yeah,
so what is the goal of Freemasonry?
to overthrow Christianity.
And what's the queen of Christianity?
Secret societies.
What? No.
The queen of Christianity is secret societies? What is the queen of all Christianity? What is the church Christ instituted?
The Catholic Church.
Yes, the overthrow of the Catholic Church is their goal. And they knew they couldn't do it from outside, so they had to get inside. As Father Gomer de Paul said about the communists, they saw, since the priests won't become communists, communists will become priests. In that book, AA 1025 is a communist agent that enters a seminary, right?
Yes.
And quite a scary little book. But that's exactly what happened. Bella Dodd said they sent thousands of agents, communist agents, into the seminaries to infiltrate it. Pretty frightening. Well, you had a Judas, so that's why it's often my practice over my parishes and where the priories and over the oratory here to do a monthly exorcism over the place. A monthly exorcism to drive out the devil and his influence. Evil character, the exceptions. 11.
Not all members or affiliated associations are involved in the full wickedness, but such remains Freemasonry's character.
Yes, so not every member of Freemasonry is necessarily, a bloodthirsty, knife-dripping Satanist, because they have levels. They're pretty smart. So they have these Odd Fellows, Rotary Club, Moose Lodge, what are others? Shriners, hospitals, that all look good and they do good deeds and they seek humanitarian peace and all this. But it's just a mask to hide the higher levels in the evil that they're up to. All right, evil principles of Freemasonry. So here he gets right to the engine. Foundation, 12.
Freemasonry's fundamental error is naturalism, the denial of anything supernatural, of any supernatural Catholic truth or authority.
Yeah, so that's where it links itself up with Judaism. Because Judaism is built totally on naturalism. They reject the Messiah, they reject Christ, they reject his Catholic Church. So it's pure naturalism. And that's what Freemasonry's religion is. It's pure naturalism, which is the denial of
any supernatural Catholic truth or authority.
So do they believe in the incarnation? No. The Holy Trinity? No. The power of grace? No. They reject all this. Escalation. Disregard the church. 13.
Freemasonry seeks to disconnect the state from the Catholic Church so as to discount the church's influence.
Hence, they heavily promote separation of
church and state.
Yes, and that's why Dignitatis Humanae of Vatican II was a Masonic document, because it's calling basically for this, the state to be neutral on matters of religion, which is a total triumph of Freemasonry. Injure the church. 14.
Then the church is positively attacked in her teaching, rites, clergy, possessions, orders.
Yes, so the Masons don't just sit by and, let's separate the church and let the church go off and do what she does. But they positively attack the church in her teaching. They mock the supernatural truths. They try to show it as ridiculous. They attack the rights of the church, stealing her property. The papal states, for example, that were all stolen. They attack the clergy. They take any faults of the clergy and exaggerate them. Or they will portray the clergy as just always begging for money, always want more money. So I was walking once with one of the priests. We were where were we? I think in Spain. And the other priest spoke Spanish. So we were coming outside one of these big, beautiful churches, and this guy said to us priests, "Oh, all you priests, all you do is want money. All you do is beg for money." And the priest that I was with, he turned to him and said, "Did I ask you for money? Did I ask you for any money?" And he gave it to him with some other expressions. So they portray the clergy as just money hungry. And now, of course, they really smear the clergy with all the scandals. Unfortunately, those that are true discredit all the clergy, but that's also an exaggeration. Just because there's some drug-dealing Marine Corps and bloodthirsty Marine Corps who kill more than they should, or those who might steal or cheat or be adulterers, it doesn't mean all the Marine Corps guys are bad. Same with the clergy. All right, they attack the possessions of the church, and they attack the religious orders, of course. They attack the nuns and throw them in the mud, slander, and so forth. They seek to destroy the church. 15.
In particular, Freemasonry aims to destroy the papacy and everything it has established for the church.
Destroy the what?
Papacy.
Yeah, 100 years ago, that would be like, yeah, try. Good luck, try. But now they have. They won't destroy the papacy, but they have popes who are Freemasonic in their head. That's definite. So they got very far. Here we are, 2025, and they are at the height of the church. Frightening thing, but they still won't win. All right, they ruin positive religion. 16.
To ruin Catholicism, Freemasonry promotes religious indifferentism, which also ruins all other religions.
Yeah, so not only they bring down the Catholic Church, but they bring down all belief. All belief is destroyed by Freemasonry. They ruin natural religion. 17.
Headlong Freemasonry proceeds to undermine the great religious truths accessible to natural reason.
Yeah, so everyone knows by natural reason there's God, that he's a rewarder of good and evil, that we have an immortal soul. These things you can know by reason, and they even attack that. And just evolution is one of their big buddies to bring disbelief. Ruin natural truths, 18.
Whereupon all natural truths, and finally objective truth itself, fall in ruins.
Yes, so they destroy everything, all belief. So that all that's left is, I'm just a species inhabiting the earth with all the other species. When I die, I'm buried and just turn to dust, or get burned and just turn to ashes. And that's all, that's it. What a dark world. Now the evil, so those are the principles of Freemasonry. Now the evil practice of Freemasonry. The individual, first, individual immorality, 19.
Thus destroying all morality's foundations in dogma and truth, they unleash a deplorable immorality.
Yes, so if you don't have to fear hell anymore, and they say it doesn't exist, and there's no God to fear at my judgment, then I can do what I want. Then there's no restraint. I don't have to obey any laws, I don't have to obey any commandments. So this is the unleashing of all immorality. Once you destroy belief in God and hell, there's no stopping anybody. Why do I stop? Why? What keeps me from stealing something big is the fear of getting caught and, going to jail or in going to hell. But with Freemasonry, all that's done, all that's removed. So they encourage immorality in dress, the rock and roll music which promotes fornication and adultery and blasphemy and rebellion, the immorality promoted by the movies, blasphemy, which has become now commonplace in most movies and shows. Also individual licentiousness, 20.
And by denying original sin and exaggerating natural goodness, they craftily promote
licentiousness.
licentiousness.
Licentiousness means all removal of all restraint, especially in regards to sensuality. So they deny original sin. Mankind is innocent. He's good. The Jean-Jacques Rousseau, we talked about that. Remember the noble savage of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, the noble savage. Men left to themselves are innocent and good, but that's not true. Men left to themselves inclined towards
Evil.
yes, and without grace we just become barbarians. Family. Their evil practice of the Freemasons, they seek the dissolution of the family. 21.
By laicizing marriage, they dissolve the family. By laicizing education, they demoralize the young.
So look at that. The Masons aim to hit the heart of the marriage and the family by attacking marriage, and they ruin the youth by their godless education. So this is some very powerful stuff. Very powerful stuff. What the Pope is showing. And this should have woken up all the bishops and leaders of society at that time. But many of them just saw the encyclical, yawned, and put it in a drawer. So now Freemasonry basically runs the world along with the synagogue of Satan. So now the Virgin Mary has to step in and crush the serpent's head. So we look forward to that day. Adiutorium nostrum in nomine Domini.